With the truth, the facts, we lay it down flat. With the melanated empire, never hold back. Put the facts in the blacks and make them wise up. With the melanated.
Peace, love, and coconut oil family. It's the Young Caribbean God Simon Ra. Give thanks for being with us yet again in another installment. You know, always bringing a different frequency, a different understanding, a different perspective to the family in regards to historical issues, up-to-date issues, and yeah, just breaking down the science to help us with this elevation. Mainly dealing with, well, this is mostly for, you know, my people in the diaspora, but I'm sure a lot of people internationally, black people, can relate to what I'm saying. Some of this, while I try to break it down as minuscule as I possibly can, it is still above some of my people's heads, you know what I mean? But I can only break it down so much, you know. Man, I have to start to read, guys, and go and get the information. Speaking about information, the name of this video is Colonizing Information. And the title of this video was sparked by the introduction of Dr. Henry Clark's book, Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust. But the introduction to the book was written by Dr. Leonard Jeffries. And he goes on to say that by analysis, okay, this work by Dr. John Henry Clark actually shows us and provides us with a perspective that lets us understand that the system of slavery and genocide was institutionalized and systemized into a global system of domination, destruction, and death, which not only control land, labor, and resources, but also colonialized information. So he's basically saying that due to slavery and the genocide, right, the colonializers, the slave masters, if you may, through destruction and genocide and pillaging, they were able to acquire wealth in regards to land and labor family, okay? Which is why you can see that they're the superpowers of today. They did this for a number of centuries while they were reaping the benefits from Africa, okay? Now that in itself, while they were performing these hideous acts, that allowed them to get their hands on certain information that was perhaps readily available to the public, to the general public at large, okay? Perhaps, to get hold of that information and say, well, like, you know, we decide who gets that information. So they are basically colonializing information, if you understand what the term colonialize means and what it stands for. So anyway, I was incarcerated mentally. You can see straight out of mental slavery. But based on that, now it's a very small book, family. I urge the family to get it. It's a nice read. You know, I mean, gives you really a breakdown that we here in the diaspora need to understand, because of Christopher Columbus and what he set in motion led to African slavery and European capitalism. Okay, but this is not what the video is about. It's about colonializing information. Now, what sparked this video is we here in the Caribbean, especially in St. Lucia, we don't have access to a lot of these books, family, that would really help us on the quest in regards to knowing oneself. Because knowing oneself doesn't just deal with what pisses you off, what you love, how basically you relate to your God body astrologically. It also has to deal with your history as well, okay? Because it wasn't, nothing prior to slavery was taught to us at school, family. So what that does to the integrity and even the self-esteem of an individual, okay, is very degrading. So it is incumbent upon you, the African, if you want to know self, to go and study history, talking about archaeology, anthropology, studying different cultures, okay, especially African cultures, and what we perceived and the perception of our ancestors, and try to ride that wave instead of the acculturation process that we were exposed to. So in an effort to accomplish this, we have to order books because we have no libraries that have any of this information here. But turns out that the institution that controls what comes into the country is called Customs and Excise. And as a result, these individuals do not want the public to get access to those books. I even heard from the vine tree that if the public is allowed access to that information, it may cause an uprising against the present government or religious system which governs the land, which is basically Christianity. I mean, there's a Catholic church in almost every town or every village here in this small island. Okay, so the book I ordered is entitled Orishas, Goddesses, and the Voodoo Queens. Okay, the Divine Feminine in the African Religion. So I suspect because the book had voodoo queens, and they probably browsed through the book, they probably saw a few incantations, and ritual proceedings to various deities. They said that they will not allow the book to pass because it has voodoo in there. First of all, it does actually say on the top, on the cover, voodoo queens. You see what I'm saying, family? But my thing is, isn't that basically discrimination against one's particular belief? I thought that everyone was free and entitled to their beliefs. So what is that about? Based on the title of the book alone, I'm probably scrolling through it, you actually suspected that, it probably has some spells, and those things can probably be used towards certain government heads and ministers. And I mean, come on, man. What historical record do you have of that ever being done? You see what I'm saying? Now, the fear in regards to causing the uprising, okay, I can see where you're going to a level because, again, y'all are colonializing the information. And you're not even white. You're black just like me, and you're withholding certain information from the public. You see what I'm saying? So that inhibits me basically from learning about my true origins, because I mean, come on, let's face it. Yeah, we deal with Kemetic spirituality. That is because that information is readily accessible to us. Okay, and considering that the world's 3 main religions, that is where they get most of their foundational information from, though twisted and plagiarized, we have no choice but to go to the Nile Valley civilizations and spiritual sciences and spiritual systems family. But we were taken from West Africa. So while we got that knowledge, it would be nice to be exposed to different books and sources in regards to the West African religion, which is where we decided to order that book, the Orishas, because Orisha basically is part of the Yoruba religion, which is one of the religions in Nigeria. I believe there is the Igbo and there is the Hausa as well. Okay, so you're colonizing the information, you're withholding information from the public. But what I'm saying, while you do let some books pass, they let this one pass, but that I ordered that time ago. Okay, probably the laws have actually changed now. This I ordered recently. This has spells in it. This has spells in it. You see what I'm saying? So it more than like is a little chance you take in, because you never really know if they're going to seize it or if not. You understand? And that should not be, family. That is basically colonializing information. You withholding information and feeling that you have the right to it. But the voodoo he kind of thinking about, or the organization, the customs officers and what have you, do not want to let pass. If you go and look at the history of St. Lucia, you will come across a religion called the Kili. When you look at Kili, you will see that it is an Afro-Lucian religion practiced by the Dijine people from Babano. Babano is a place up north. Within that religion, the primary deities are Ogun, Shango, and Eshu. Now, if one knows a little in regards to West African deities and religions, you will know that Ogun and Shango are Orishas, and they are part of the Yoruba religion. That alone should tell us two things. One, it ties us back to West African culture, okay? Because those people in Babylon were still practicing that. So where did they get it from? Obviously, those are the slaves or descendants of the slaves that actually came over. The second thing it should show us or allow us to ask ourselves is that what happened to that religion? What happened to these particular people? Okay, so if you go on to read, it even says that the religion is strongly connected to the Ogun festival in Nigeria. Okay, repressed by the Roman Catholic Church until the early 1960s, it has been practiced in secrecy underground. Repressed, which means oppressed by the Roman Catholic Church which, as I said earlier in the video, is the predominant religion in St. Lucia, as you can find a Catholic church within every town or village or city on this island. They were oppressed by the Roman Catholic Church. Is what I'm saying. So you're oppressing the people to practice their thing, and then you'll come and superimpose your religion on the indigenous people and even the slaves that you brought over here from Africa. Her family? So these people are colonializing information. So the question is, when you have all them books there, what you're doing with it? Before, back in the day, you used to see a lot of books like, there's this blue book, as they call it, called The Power of the Psalms, that has a lot of science in it. You check it, a lot of dark science in it. Now, Psalms, as you know, is a part of the King James Bible. Okay? So, why was that book everywhere before? Did you just used to let it pass because it says Psalms? You know what I mean? Because it's part of the King James Version. Now you're trying to play like you'll put a bun on it and you'll season every single thing. I even afraid to order my Ryu put Heru Ge, which is the book of coming forth by day and by night. I'm even afraid to order that because I don't know to season my thing. So at the same time we have to deal with a lot of PDFs, but it has a different feeling when you have the book in your hand still. You check it? So this is what it's about, family. I urge us to get our books and build our personal libraries, and it seems like it's just a chance you have to take to see. Sometimes it passed, sometimes they pass, because I showed the family books that actually came through. You know what I mean? I hope because of this video they don't actually go on cracking down more on it, but actually see it fit to even allow people certain access to information. I mean, if it's some real demonic thing and you know what I mean? But at the same time, by trying to get back to the heritage and get back to a knowledge of self. So you cannot, you know, put a block there, man. I mean, come on. What is wrong with you? But give thanks for being with us once again, family. Just a short video still. I don't know if it's short or whatever, but just to show that, you know, these people still trying to have us in that mental slavery where most of us were actually incarcerated. But give thanks that we broke through, but never let them rock you back to sleep. And having said that, family, peace, love, and